Well, hello everybody. This is Dwayne with Modders Inc. and I'll be filling in a little bit for Craig. He's at home taking care, I think, of his sick wife, so he might join us in a little bit later. So you'll have to deal with me for a little while. But we do have a couple of the other normal guys on board. We have Ron.
Hello. I'm not normal, by the way.
We have
say.
Nick,
Hey, how's it going, guys?
and then we have Joe.
Captain Superglue himself.
Ta-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Oh yeah, we got to remember to add that in there. Remember, Joe, you have to have a story for us. All right. So this week, looks like we're going to be covering quite a bit of modding stuff. Believe it or not, even though we are a modding site, so we're going to be talking about quite a bit of stuff. First one I think we really want to talk about though is the Thermaltake, the Case Mod Invitational. As somebody that we know, it's very dear to our heart, has actually been picked and is the lone modder from the United States. And that is Nick Blackwell. Nick, tell us about this. I mean, how did this come about?
Actually, it came about by someone probably sent me a private message on Facebook, and I guess I hadn't talked to him in about a year or so, and he's like, hey, we're gonna do this competition, and do you have time? And I'm like, okay, kind of skeptical at first. Is this real? And and we just started talking about it, and then I talked to Kenny, and he's like, yeah, dude, this is the real thing. Go, go, go. Like, I was like,
oh, Kenny, meaning the CEO of
yeah,
Thermaltake?
yeah, he's the one that actually confirmed it for me, and I was just like, oh wow, like this is amazing, and it's truly an awesome opportunity. I mean, it's kind of funny that they call it a competition. I mean, when you're one of 7 selected around the entire world, it's I don't see how you can't be a winner. You know what I mean? We all are already winners. We get to be part of this once in a lifetime opportunity, and we get to play with some of the latest and greatest liquid cooling system by Thermaltake. So I don't see how anyone can be a loser. I mean, all 6 of these guys, of the other guys, are awesome in their own right. So it's just going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to see what everybody else produces. I mean, it's just.
Do you all start off with the same case, or is this just
actually no? It's pretty much a free for all. I mean, they just said whatever you guys want to use, however much you want to utilize, just let us know, as long as it's within reason. We can't do 5x9 stacks tall or anything like that. But it's pretty awesome. It's like I said, it's just a fantastic opportunity, and I'm really very grateful and honored to be part of it.
Yeah, that is totally awesome, and I see they also have a forum set up so they can watch everybody's build log too.
Yeah, we're supposed to. The main build logs are going to be on there, and then on top of that, we are going to be adding build logs across a bunch of other forums. So that it'll be on the Modders Inc. forums. Terabyte Gaming is also going to have a special section for us. We've got a lot of awesome sponsors actually this year. A lot of new names. Sanctum Sleeving, which is Joe from Modders Inc. I mean, he provides some of the best sleeving in the industry right now. We've got Precision Computing, which is Mark Malella. V1 Tech. A lot of the guys that are in the industry are really pitching in and supporting my work, and I really that's another thing I really appreciate. None of this would ever happen without any of you guys. So.
Well, that's what modding really is all about. I mean, it's just helping everybody, because that's what we do. We teach people of what we do. So watching your work logs, people are going to get the ideas of how you did something, and maybe they want to duplicate it, or maybe they want to take what you did and change it a little bit. But it's all about helping each other. It's not trying to grab all the glory and stuff that you can. And this is awesome. I mean, I'm jealous. It's really, I think, quite a great event to be part of.
Yeah, I was like I said, I was really surprised that I was selected. I mean, there are a lot better modders than me in the U.S. I know this for sure. I mean, look at you, Dwayne. You're like the godfather of modding.
Oh, no.
As far as I'm concerned, you are.
What are you
But
talking about?
there's so much great talent, and for me to be selected, it's like I said, it's just a great honor.
Well, I'm personally glad to see that you did it. We've seen the stuff that you've done. I mean, you did take second place last year in the Case Mud contest, right? At
Yes,
Quakeland.
sir.
So I mean, that's a pretty big field to get into, and be able to take second place. That's pretty awesome.
So how is this gonna? Go ahead, Joe.
Just to clarify, he placed second before he was part of Modders Inc.
It's true.
Yeah, guys.
Just to clarify.
That was the whole reason why they had me join Modders Inc. is so I can't come next year and take first place.
That's right. You don't realize how much we got paid to do that.
And so how is this gonna work? Is it gonna be a voting? Is it gonna be a public consensus?
It is a vote. It is a vote based. I believe it's I was 40% community, 30% company. I believe the CEO himself has a 10% say in it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But not only do we get to, cool stuff, but the people that vote also have awesome prizes that ASUS and HyperX and AVEX Ear and Thermaltake have sponsored a bunch of prizes. And I think there's something like 8 of the new ASUS B85 boards coming, that are just coming out that they're going to be giving away.
The tough boards.
So
yeah.
it's pretty cool. So it's a great opportunity for the community to get some new good gear as well. Yeah, look at all that cool stuff, man.
Look at the cash,
there you go.
man. First place, $6,000.
Gosh, look at that.
Damn, Nick, you're taking us all out for beers when you win that.
If I win that, it'll be a lot more than beer, bro. I'll tell you that right now.
Gold chains and jet skis for everyone.
Yeah, presidential suite at the Anatole for QuakeCon.
Hey. So you're telling me that all the stuff that we see on the screen now is what they're giving away to the people who vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm voting. I don't care. Holy shit! All right.
Yeah, it's
So
a lot of
duration?
stuff. There's
What's the duration of that?
the voting
period?
begins May 5th. The voting begins May 1st and it ends May 15th.
Perfect. So definitely watch out for that.
Yeah, and there's going to be some awesome work. Make sure to scope out those build logs, not just mine, but everybody else's. Man, all these guys are they're great. They do great work. So, like I said, I'm real excited to see what everybody else is doing, because that's how we learn.
With that said, they will be crushed by Nick Blackwell, though.
Guarantees. I think I've heard there might even have some vote or some betting going on in Vegas about this. I'll have to check the odds out.
Oh, good. That could be a good side business.
Well, we'll have to go on from that one. I think we'll probably jump over to another one. I mean, there seems like, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but is there like a new modding contest like every month now?
I've actually talked to a lot of the reps, and you know how esports was such a big thing for, say, like the past 5 years. Well, for them, modding is the next big thing. That's why Thermaltake is doing this. That's why the Cooler Masters doing their big World Series thing. MSI is doing one too now, I believe.
Yeah.
So I mean,
a whole bunch of people are
modding is, you're going to see people. You're going to start seeing companies select people to make teams for modding.
I hope so.
It just makes them more.
And it's starting to happen. It's going to become like, I think like the Mod 24 event. But I think from what I can see, how the TV shows with the cars, they have 2 teams, and you guys have, a whole week to completely tear apart and rebuild an entire car. I think that's what they're planning on doing with a lot of these new products and mods that are coming out.
It just makes sense. I mean, unlike games, which basically the graphics get old, the new technology comes in. With modding, there's always modding, no matter what. It's gonna be there forever. I don't think it's gonna
Yeah,
go
I
out of
mean,
fashion. I mean, it might not be in the spotlight, but it will be there. There's a community there.
Well, I think
yeah.
what's sad is that in the United States, there's not that camaraderie in building up the teams and stuff like this. I mean, every year, I think what is it, the DCMM or the DMMC or something like that? Like, dang
Oh,
it, I can't
In
remember.
Germany or in the
Yeah, they're
yeah.
like in their 12th or 13th year of having,
Yeah.
these.
Well, to be fair to
Mhm.
Americans, though, I mean, the size of the U.S. is gigantic, and and in Europe, basically, everything is a hop, skip, and a train away.
Well,
And
yeah, true. I mean, you could probably put half of Europe inside of Texas.
yeah, yeah. It was like, I mean,
Uh,
just getting everyone within Texas alone, the logistics is a nightmare.
True, but I mean, there's still something that we can do, and that's why finally, this year, look what we're going to be doing. We're actually calling the case mud contest at QuakeCon,
A U.S.
the
championship.
U.S.
Yeah.
Championship.
I
Yeah.
mean, who's going to take the belt?
So
It is going to
does
be a
that mean
belt, right?
I'm a second place national title holder now?
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, hopefully eventually it'll be like boxing, where there's like 5 different belts for the U.S. alone. WBO,
See,
WBC.
that's actually something I've always thought modding contests should be. There should be tiers. You know,
Yes.
you have your amateurs,
Yes.
your intermediate, your pro, and then your legendary. Because I mean, no amateur wants to go into a modding contest and be right next to someone like me or Pete,
Right.
Richard Kiersteer. I mean, not saying that those guys didn't put their work in and all that stuff. It's just they show up and they're just like you're just instantly devastated.
Exactly. I mean, this year we're going to keep it as we did like last year. Where we have the 2 class or we have the 3 classes. But I definitely want to, if it goes off well again this year, is that I want to do something like that, but maybe extend it to a 4th class, or even maybe remove 1 class and have it like an open class. And that's where those guys are. We know who those guys are. It's like, no, you're not going to compete against the beginners or the novices or the amateurs. You have to participate against the guys who's in your division, and make them do that, because we know who everybody is. And I totally agree. Why would I go out there? This is the first time I've ever modded. I'm really super proud of it. But when I go over and I look at somebody else's work, and this guy is super famous. There's Nick. I can't compete against Nick.
Yeah, especially with
This is my first time I've done this, and Nick has got years of experience, and you can see the level. But you don't want to stop people from competing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's just
remember
like,
when I competed in 2012, I walk in with my little ITX case, and I'm like, oh, this thing's so awesome. And the first thing I see is this 6-foot-tall scratch build, the Hulk.
Oh yeah.
I just kind of looked at my little case. It's okay, little toaster. We
It's
tried.
okay.
I
It's
mean,
okay.
look
Hey,
at
I still got a second.
at 2013, Frankenstein, dude. I mean, he put. I mean, even watching it, I watched him for 8 months building that thing, and when I finally saw it in person, I was just like, we literally called it Skynet. I mean, it's going to become sentient at any moment now, and everything's just going to go to hell. But the amateurs would come by and they'd be like, and then once they realized he was entered in the contest, they were just like, oh, and I was just like, I felt bad for them, but I know how much Frank put into it. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you don't understand. This guy's been working on this thing for months and months and months and months and months and months. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Like I said, we should have like a legendaries class, so we can have the guys like Ron Lee Christensen and Richard Serraz and all those
Lee
guys.
Harrington.
Yes.
Lee Harrington and Mark Malella and all those guys compete against each other because they're on pretty much at the same level.
Right.
So you're basically saying a group of experienced guys going against newbies is unfair, kind of like what's going on with the staff versus staff model. Which basically you guys, the previous winners, versus me who doesn't even own an angle grinder.
Yeah, but see, we're doing though is we're all starting off the same case, the same stuff. We have the same limits. We have everything. It's basically the imagination. But yeah, you are right. But see, when I was like, I raced motorcycles for 11 years, and you started off as a beginner, then you went novice, then you went amateur, then you went expert,
Hmm.
and if you were really good enough, then you went professional.
Yep.
You know,
And
you
then after
didn't.
professional, it was exhibitionist.
Yeah. But you didn't have the experts going up against the beginners. It just wasn't fair for them, and it was actually kind of dangerous because the experts are flying by those guys at 3 times the speed that the beginner can go,
Yeah.
and the beginner's not going to say this isn't any fun for me. Why do I want to get out here? This is not
Hmm.
fun. But if you put them in the right class, then that's where you generate the fun.
Yeah,
That's
and
what it's
also
all
maybe
about.
like a sponsored and non-sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that makes a big difference too. Is a lot of times people just they don't not everybody makes a lot of money,
Yeah.
and
no.
when you can pick up a sponsor, dude, and that makes up. I mean, even if it's just fans, that's
Yeah.
usually $100 that you're not having to pay for fans that you can now go towards other materials, more acrylic, more paint, and it lets you go farther with your mod.
No, you're 110% right. Yeah. But we're not all like Nick. We all don't make $250 every 15 minutes.
Only for 4 months, man.
But well, let's go to we got to another modding contest, and it's the what is it? The Asus. Yeah, Dream Gaming Machine contest.
Another invitational, yeah.
That was pretty awesome. I like that table that one guy made. I forgot his name,
Yeah,
but he made the
I
table.
interviewed Richard Schuros and Travis Jack, and he discussed a bit of that. I mean, his experience with the meeting the other modders from Europe, and they're pretty much they were supposed to. I think they had to pre-plan it and bring some of the materials with them, and they had 30 hours to basically do everything. So that desk is amazing. He did that for 30 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that desk
This
and
one here.
the other one that holds the tablet. That one, those two are wow. That
Yeah, I
desk
love
is
that one.
amazing.
For some reason the video wasn't working when I checked when I was there. What was that? There's a GR8 and Go, I think. What was that? Yeah,
Yeah,
that one, GR8 and Go.
that one. That one's awesome. That's the other one. That one right there. That one is just amazing, man.
I like a lot of the
That's
European
fun.
modders, especially working with the leather there. You see a lot of Italian modders do that. Sort of non-conventional materials that we don't often see here. So I think that with this contest, I hope we'll see a lot more American modders kind of adapt that into their builds. That's
Well,
really
everything starts in Europe. Hardline tubing was started in Europe.
Yep.
Copper tubing.
yeah, just like Dwayne was saying earlier, their modding competitions are insane. The DCMM and what's the French one? They have a French one that's also sponsored by a bigger kind of like the NCIX of France. It's like another big modding competition, and they're really that's why we really need to get going with the competitions and this side of the pond.
Yeah, and it's sad because I mean we really do need to get teams to compete, and eventually have like a world championship.
That would be awesome.
I volunteer as tribute.
I'll be the I'll be the Dremel boy.
Oh, Dremel boy, change out my discs.
Bit,
Yes,
bit.
sir. Yes, sir.
You have to be like a surgicalist. You have to know what they need before they need it.
You need a nurse to dab your forehead when you're like sweating off.
But that would really be a bitch. I hate to say it, but probably the guys overseas had a little bit more of advantage of the guys from the U.S. who had to travel thousands of miles and hundreds of hours, probably it seemed like, and take the stuff with you. You could only take so
So
much,
much, yeah. Unless
you
you've
know.
got deep pockets for cargo.
I don't get
Yeah.
it because I don't know who had to pay
Fans
for
do.
that.
I remember my dad wanted to take a surfboard to Costa Rica, and they said it was going to cost $700. He's like, I go buy a new one for that much.
Yeah.
$700.
Yeah. So instead, they took a cruise, and they let them take all their stuff at no additional cost. Surfboard, coffee maker, sewing machine, kitchen sink. But yeah,
so that's the second contest that we have on our list to talk about. But I mean, what do we got now? Then there's the MSI Pro.
Yeah, the Pro Mod competition.
It's more. It's not an invitation, but it's more open to everyone. It's it's running from April 9th through June 30. Where they accept entries, but it has to.
Their third competition this year already, because they had the New Year's competition in January.
Yeah, you have to for this one. You have to have a motherboard and a video card. I think that's MSI.
Wow.
MSI branded. So yeah.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing as like Cooler Master does, where you have to have a Cooler Master product.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to have at least 2, I think they said. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I remember the first year people were just using the Cooler Master Tim. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
I didn't even know they make those.
Yeah, it comes with all the fans.
Yeah, all
Not
the
fans, the CPU coolers. I think I have some around here.
Well, I've got several tubes that are here.
Yeah, so it should be exciting. I mean that's another one.
And of course, the Cooler Master thing is still ongoing. The World Series.
Yep, that one's still going on.
I think modders are the #1 consumer of Dremel products because Dremel's starting to step aboard.
Yeah, they are.
You know what really sucks is that we tried to get them many years ago, and they seemed somewhat excited, but then they stepped away from it because I don't think they understood the hobby and the competitions that involves with it. But now, when you start getting other people like, oh, see what this people are getting into, they're getting into it. Now they want to get into it. I mean, it's a no-brainer for them to be all over it. I mean, who doesn't use a Dremel?
Or you could always just approach Harbor Freight or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a rotary tool, but I mean, if you want something that's substantial, you're gonna buy a Dremel.
Yeah. I mean, people refer to it as a Dremel. And they buy. When I go to the thing, I ask for a Dremel. Like, do you have a Dremel? Maybe a different brand, but a Dremel. It's kind of like a Xerox. Well, they refer to the photocopy as a Xerox.
Yeah.
Synonymous with the brand.
Yep.
I've got a Dremel right here.
See, look at that.
It's like a Dremel on roids, but
It's the RotoZip.
Oh yeah, those things are evil.
It was a RotoZip of destruction, especially in my hands.
That's a weird looking dildo.
That would be a dildo.
Yeah, definitely a dildo.
3,000 RPM.
Oh no, that one's 15.
I was gonna say try 9,500 to 15,000.
It cuts through aluminum like butter. It's amazing. So I wouldn't put it anywhere near organs or external skin or people or me.
I still won't use anything but my pneumatic angle grinder if I really want to cut through something. That thing 65,000 RPM, man. It cuts through half-inch steel like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, I saw there's a flyer that arrived today. Actually, there's like a big sale of tools right now. I have to start buying stuff. Keep on forgetting to make a list. I need an angle grinder, definitely. Making the cuts.
Yep.
Dremel, I might not need one, but I don't know. I mean, a rotary tool. What do you think it's really necessary, or?
The only problem with using a rotary tool and with this case is it's steel, and you'll go through the reinforced cutting disc.
Yeah. The general rule
Honestly,
I go with
jigsaw
is if it's more than 4 inches, I bust out the angle grinder.
Angle grinder.
If it's going to be 4 inches or smaller, I'll use the Dremel. The Dremel's like your precise tool. That's your precision tool. the angle grinder is what you're going to use for your rough cuts and your much larger cuts. Because if you try, like Joe said, that thing's steel. You try, not only you're going to go through a bunch of discs, you're going to be there for a while.
Okay, that's good to know. Because yeah, I was trying to prioritize. Because I know the tool doesn't our budget limit doesn't cover tools, but still I don't have unlimited budget. I don't have $500 to spend on tool.
A really good investment would be a scroll saw, and you can usually get one at Harbor Freight for about $60.
Yeah, actually, I saw there was a flyer today that came in. But there's like a huge sale right now going on. It's we're one of the local brands here, and they have an angle grinder for like $20 from like $89. So I don't know.
Man. Get the cheap ones, man, because if it breaks, you can just go get another one for $15.
Yeah. And the scroll saw, definitely. That was also one of my priorities, scroll saw, because I want to do kind of curved cuts. And they're not expensive at all.
The scroll saw can do a straight 90-degree cut. You can do straight right angles with a scroll saw, or you can go past 90 degrees.
I was like,
you can make your own hand grills. You can make all kinds of stuff.
And those are strong for steel, the scroll saw. They're good enough for steel. Do I need a special?
You need to get a blade specially for metal, and the metal blades are very, very, very thin. So I would get quite a few because you will break them.
Yeah. Okay.
They will break.
Definitely, that's my priority right now, and a bending brake. We have a Princess. We don't have Harbor Freight up here in Canada, but we have Princess Auto, and they have almost the same price in the U.S. Probably the only place in Canada that has the same price in the U.S. So I love when I saw Princess Auto website has the same price.
Sweet.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're just gonna start off into it, definitely get you a rotary tool. Get you a Dremel though. I mean, you can go and get you a $20 one, and it's going to last you exactly what you paid for it. The next step up, I totally agree with Nick, because I have one too, is to go to the scroll saw, because then you can do just anything. You can set it up, and you can do nice straight lines, or you can do all the nice fancy cuts with it. You can do plastics, you can do metal, you can do wood, you can do everything. I've even done the styrene on there. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with that. But you got a basic, to me, is definitely a Dremel, because you can do the little stuff and get used to it and figure out how you're going to do it. If you're going to cut a whole side panel out or a big window, yeah, you're not going to get straight lines. You're not going to get the best. But if you're doing minor stuff and just doing touch-up stuff, absolutely.
Would you recommend getting it's a $100 Dremel with like a big accessory kit, or get a $100 Dremel with very little accessory kit and get the accessory kit that's specialized only for modding, like piece by piece? Well, what do you recommend? Because is the cheap Dremel good enough for modding? Is it strong enough, or what am I sacrificing?
You get what you pay for.
Right. I would invest in a quality rotary tool. I would spend no less than $100.
Well, this is specifically a Dremel brand.
Something you're going to use.
Yeah.
I mean, you just want a good, because that's one thing. I mean, when it comes to precision work, you don't want your rotary tool to crap out on you. If it, not only that, but I mean, some of them will overvolt. The cheap ones will overvolt, and all of a sudden it starts walking on you, and there goes your side panel or a piece of acrylic. You just ruined your material, because all of a sudden it went from 8,500 RPM to 16,000 RPM.
That's specifically within the Dremel family. What would be? I saw the 4,000 for, like, I think $120 for like a fully kitted out.
For that price, yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you get a corded one. Don't get a wireless one, because the batteries just don't last, man.
Yeah, as they call it, it's not there yet.
The new one's actually pretty good.
Really? I had mine, and after like 10 charges, it wouldn't even last maybe 10 minutes.
The new one's actually, I don't know what Dremel did, but it's actually working pretty well.
Okay, we're looking at the kit there right now. What is missing in that kit? What other than the steel discs, I guess, for cutting.
No, you do get some of the fiber discs, so it's I think
Yeah, you get
it's
some of the reinforced disc.
Okay.
yeah, some
The
of
only-
them are in there. The only
what's
thing that
missing?
I wouldn't really use out of it is, of course, this piece here where I get the mouse at, because that's for cutting circles into like drywall or wood and stuff. It's not that great for trying to cut metal or anything else. But this piece here is you can kind of use it more like a router.
Yeah. That
You can
looks
do
like, yeah.
a depth gauge, and you can do some other pieces with it. I personally would probably use almost most of that stuff in there. Because you get a little steel brush here, then you get some ones for like wood, and then there's some other ones for cutting metals that are cheap, but the reinforced quick change ones are the best. Then you get some of the little sanding drums. Then towards the back here it shows you get a little cube of brew with some buffing wheels. So I mean it's a good starter kit, and that's a really good and decent Dremel. I have that one.
That's a good
What
tool
I think
right
is
there, man.
what I think is missing from this kit, which for me, I really don't use my Dremel too much, but I use it now more than ever because of this one accessory. It's like kind of like an extender, and you can it makes the Dremel from being a giant tool you have to hold and you have trouble maneuvering around. It's that extension piece that it turns your Dremel that's like this into that.
It's
And
the
you
flick
can get
shaft.
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
flex shaft,
In the picture here, you can see it.
There it
That's
is.
that's an awesome accessory
That one,
right there,
that's a
man.
nice,
I have one in my shop.
there's a nice routing attachment right there, too.
If it doesn't come with it, which I guess it does because it's in the picture, they're only like $30, if that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one right here, when I went to Home Depot, I think it was like $149 or $150. And this kit, and out of that kit, I think I use 90% of the stuff that comes with it. And the good thing about Dremel is if you don't see what you need there, you go over there and they have all kinds of bits, and they have everything else you can think of. You can even turn it into a little mini drill press. You can put it into another type of saw. You can even set it up to a small router table on the top. I mean, there's all kinds of different things you can do to it.
This one has the shield on it. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, how you guys
Oh,
doing?
there you
Sorry
is.
I'm late.
So if you look towards the left, you can
That one right
see it. Yeah, that's actually the shield. So whenever you're cutting, especially acrylic is notorious. I don't like using high-speed tools on acrylic because it melts. Personally, my favorite tool out of all the tools I have is my jigsaw. I would give up all my other tools before I gave up my jigsaw.
They don't have the 4000 kit in the Canadian Home Depot. They have the 3000 and the 8200. Oh, 8200 is a cordless one. The 3000 toolkit is $80. But I don't know what's the difference between the 3000 and the 4000.
I think it is how powerful the motor is, actually. If you start looking into the specs, you'll see it. It'll tell you like the horsepower or how many watts it is, I believe. So the higher the watts, the more power that you can actually use it for.
Do your homework though, and look at the reviews because certain models have more of a tendency to burn out, especially when you're cutting into harder metals like steel. I mean, aluminum cuts like butter. I could probably use a butter knife to cut through aluminum, and it'd be fine. But steel, if you watch the NVIDIA GeForce Garage video with Lee Harrington cutting into the cross desk, he actually used lubricant to make sure that it didn't start smoking and actually flex the steel material and burn out the what's it called, the plunging tool.
Mm-hmm.
The hole saw?
Well, that was one hell of a hole saw.
Yeah, 4-inch.
Yep.
Well, no, because he didn't have it on just like a standard drill. He used like a specialized drill for that.
That was
yeah.
What do you call it? Hammer drill.
I mean, it's Lee, so he goes big and he doesn't go home.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He lives at NVIDIA.
He does. I think he does. I got stuck there with him for the video shoot. We were there until like 2 o'clock in the morning, I think. But even with the Dremel, I mean, I had an older one and I was using it and it burnt up and I think I had posted somewhere. I don't even remember where it even. I think I posted it on Facebook and somehow it got into Twitter that it burnt up. Dremel actually contacted me and said, "Hey, we found out that you had a problem with your Dremel, and we would like to send you a new one."
Nice.
And I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, buddy.
That isn't an incentive to buy Dremel, and I don't know.
Yeah,
They
and I'm
do
like,
stand behind their product.
they
which is
do,
good.
and I'm like, okay. So I figured it was just going to be, the $40 Dremel. They sent me the kit, the one we were looking at, the 4000 with all the attachments, everything.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah, see, I'm a
sweet.
Craftsman rotary tool user. I don't actually have the Dremel model. And the Craftsman, flexible shaft tip, for hanging the device up on a gantry, and then having the flexible tip that I can hold as like a pencil, and get down there trying to navigate with holding the whole motor and the rotary tool in my hand.
Yeah, you have the flex shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing because you can get so much closer to the work that you need to do, and you're not holding the motor too when it starts getting warm.
Yeah. I will say this: I've actually been able to use RotoZip accessories on my Dremel.
Nice.
I like
Really?
Yeah.
what do they call them?
Metal cutting bits.
Yeah, there's a bit that they use. I've seen it in the Dremel lineup. It's basically an omnidirectional drill bit. It's like a drill bit, except everywhere everywhere that the cutting surfaces are, it actually flares out from the side of the drill bit just a little bit, so that as it's spinning, it's like it's a cutting surface that's spinning up like a drill bit would be, where the cutting surfaces are coming up, but they're flared out just a little bit, so you can actually take it and pull it through material and just like start drawing. If the material's soft enough, and you can just kind of zzz and just make
Almost
these really,
like a milling bit.
almost like a what?
Almost like a milling bit.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Actually, Ron, a tool that it's kind of overlooked, and it's kind of a shame that it is overlooked. It's the nibbler. It's actually not that bad of a tool.
Yeah, I gotta have a good pair of gloves for that, though.
Like a hand nibbler, like a metal shear, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just,
There's here's another thing. I went to a car show one time and ended up buying one of these. It's a nibbler that goes on the end of my drill. So,
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I can
That's
just-
awesome.
and anywhere I can take an electrical
nice.
cord, I can just, or even battery powered, I can just take the thing and cut through some material. I got all kinds of tools in the garage. God, this hobby's expensive.
it really is. Yeah, they're cheap too. I mean, all it is that tooth, and it compresses down and cuts through. But
$12.75 on Amazon.
check
Yep, if you want to
Amazon.ca.
spend 3.5 hours cutting out your side panel.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's all you've got, if you can't, let's say you're in an apartment.
That's what I started with.
Yeah, and I think this is like the one that Craig's kind of talking about. You can put a kind of on the end of a drill, and it'll nibble away at some stuff. And
That's
there's
awesome.
always a way around to doing something.
Oh, yeah, there's
55
always
Canadian.
ways to take our money.
For that yellow one, the Klein tools.
Oh, Klein's good though.
Oh yeah, Klein makes excellent tools, man.
Klein is quality products. That's
Yeah, R2 is ARTU. That's, I think, the yellow one. That's the one that I have.
Yeah,
Well, so I can
Klein
find the link for it.
Man, all my electrician's tools are Klein's. Man.
Wow, the
I
Makita's
won't-
$400.
I
I don't
remember
see what
when
the
I
cheapest one
My
is.
dad was like, "You don't want anything but Klein when it comes to electrician's tools," and I was like, "Yep, you're right."
Yep. Well, I'm surprised you don't have one of these, Nick, which is the Matic one.
I have one. That's the one I have that goes up to 95,000 RPM. And
95. 95,000.
Drains my
Yeah, that's not
125
bad.
gallon compressor tank in 2 seconds. Well, because it's got an adjustable knob on it, so I can take it all the way up to, I think it's not 95,000, but I think it's like 35,000, and I can bring it all the way down to 900.
So what you're saying is you can actually simulate a leak and actually do something productive at the same time.
Right. That's what oh, that's a pneumatic nibbler. I thought that was an angle.
Yeah. No, pneumatic nibbler.
Yeah, my angle. Yeah, I would love to get one of those, man.
But you just be finding shit out in the workshop to just.
Oh, dude, with the spy versus spy build I've got going on, I'm wanting to make a whole new motherboard plate for both motherboards, because how the X9s are, they're horizontally parallel to each other. So what I wanted to do is make one whole plate and put both motherboards on it. So I have to cut in, all the slots for the cables to go in between the two boards and stuff, and that would be perfect.
Say hi, Dexter. Say hi.
Oh,
Dexter. We're watching him for a week or two while some friends are buying a house. Dexter's a little bit out of sorts. If I jump up out of the chair, it's because he's pooping in the house.
That's what your wife says about you, Craig.
She doesn't jump out of the house. She doesn't jump out of the chair anymore.
No, she's like, oh no.
Not again.
just don't rub it into the carpet this time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Blot it up, please. Yeah.
You have to plot all of that. You can't even wipe it because it smears.
So what's the next on our list here?
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
next on our list. Next on our list is yes.
The Proud of Blood case. Custom engine.
Just real quick, and I want to let you guys know that while I was, working with the kids to get them to bed, I was actually watching the podcast. Looks beautiful. Nick, I am also envious. Very envious. $6,000 first place. All those toys to play with. You win, QuakeCon.
Yeah, we've already had that discussion.
I'm just letting you know that I heard it too. So
that's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Hey, cool. So all right. So next on our list. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as long as I get my new aircon first, then I'll take care of the rest of y'all.
Sweet.
I heard we could make the competition the loser pays for dinner or something.
Oh, hey.
Last place.
Yeah.
Last place in
I don't make
Devon
that much money.
pays for dinner.
But then, like I said, none of us are losers. We're all winners already.
Wow.
Strive for mediocrity. First place usually ends up having to do something. Last place has to do something. I'm going to be aiming right for the middle. Reap the benefits of all around me.
So yeah. So this is the Proud of Blood custom engine case.
Yeah, it's translated, so it loses a bit of its charm. Mentions blood a lot on the page there. It's basically a Kickstarter campaign. Well, whatever the equivalent of Kickstarter is in China, in mainland China, and this was what they're trying to campaign to build this one. It's a limited edition run. I mean, $2,700 is a lot of money for a case.
Look at the amount of detail. It's just
There's actually an image down there where they show all the parts. If you scroll down,
Yes, sir.
there's the
look
look
at
at that!
that.
Look at how many pieces.
yeah. All I want to know is where do I put my motherboard?
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to figure it out too. It's like, where the hell does it go? But
I could
apparently
just-
it's full ATX, so it's
I
nice.
could just 3D print all of this. That'd be awesome.
It
It's
is awesome.
was that 24, 32 inches tall? That's pretty tall.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, that
I'll
is
print it
pretty
in
tall.
sections.
36 inches, right?
Pretty awesome, man.
Can we get it through Alibaba? I'm kidding.
Yeah, but you gotta have ordered like 2 metric tons worth.
Yeah. And then it'll get stuck out in the harbor in California because
That's
the unions will be on strike.
Oh, the
We're not
longshore
moving this
strike.
shit.
Oh. Well, we know that the fans finally got through.
Oh man, that strike caused such havoc with the competition, mainly with me, because they had to fly the things directly to me from Taiwan
Wow.
because of the
that's
strike.
right. You're the only U.S. one.
Yeah, and it that's why everything car started coming in batches. They're like, okay, we're sending the first part out, and then they're sending the next part out, and it's like, oh wow. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get it with the strike? And then DHL shows up at my house 2 days later, and I'm like,
That's
whoa,
how you get it.
that's how I get it.
Well, there was also option B. It's just a catapult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missile.
Might
Okay.
splash.
400 Taiwanese. It'd be like 400. What is it? Taiwanesian?
I have no idea.
You just get like 400 of them and throw them at Nick.
Yeah, this is unreal.
So I'm seeing that this case is built off of an in-win. It's in partnership.
Yeah, Inwin is going to manufacture the case for them. They're gonna basically hire Inwin to make it.
They're the only ones crazy enough to do it.
Well, I'm seeing the stuff like the bent frame tubing and stuff like that, and that's kind of similar to what they had.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Inwin is also who makes cases for everybody else. So they have all the tooling to be able to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that's true.
OEM.
Yeah.
Well, what you're seeing is a lot of these companies. So like this one's using Inwin. The guys that did it was that ITX build. It was actually successfully funded on Kickstarter. What's it called? I'm drawing a blank. Which is normal.
Hex gear or
No, the
N-
N-Case.
NM40. What was it?
The N-Case.
No, the N-Case
yeah.
was funded on Kickstarter, and that one was made through Lion Lee. And then the MK2, that one's through Silverstone. So you have these guys that are developing their own cases and partnering up with like Lion Lee, Silverstone, and Inwin, these big companies that can actually produce it. Because there's no way that they're going to be able to make money if they have to build a factory from scratch.
Yeah. Well, plus they don't have to pay their own designer. They don't have to hire a designer to design the thing and do any R&D on it or marketing.
Right.
It's the Steve Jobs approach. This is what it looks like. Now just make it work.
Yeah. Here's what I want it to look like. Make it fit.
Well,
And
with 3D modeling now, it's easy. You just give them the file. And it's ready to print.
Yeah.
Ready to.
I will say this: the advantage of a 3D printer is amazing because I can do a test piece, print it for like 25 cents, and say, okay, this works. Now I can spend the $20 on a piece of metal. Is that leather on the top?
Oh, it's steel actually. It's a tank.
Well, no, is that a tank?
Oh, it's just a reflection of the light, I think.
I think it's plastic.
Yeah.
You kind of look like it was like bleeded. This thing looks sick.
It would be nice if it actually exhausts the
that's
air
awesome.
there. I don't know if it does, but that would be cool.
I bet it does.
I bet it does.
The hot air,
That
yeah.
looks functional.
Mm-hmm.
It looks hollow. The interior tube looks hollow.
I gotta hope that's not actual size.
Jesus.
Imagine.
Shake it, actually.
It's bigger than a 900D.
It's bigger than an actual bike engine.
Yeah.
They have to hump off a camel just to move it.
Yeah, well, it's 36 inches. Yeah, that looks about 36 inches.
Yeah, that's what you tell her, right?
Well, no, she says it, and she says,
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you're gonna handle this.
I actually have a giant ruler next to me, and yeah, that's.
I mean,
This
the
is
detail
all
looks
that's left.
great.
It's a beautiful case.
Can you see the motherboard? I can't even see anything.
Right.
Unless they're laying it down flat. There was a company that I think it was Reactor PC, or maybe their PC was called the Reactor. It was at Submerged PC, and they had the motherboard located to one spot, and then everything else was like it used ribbon cables to move everything else around. Which you're starting to see that more and more companies utilizing the ribbon cable or the riser Silverstone Lion Lee for their HTPC style cases.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That
Wow.
is amazing.
Speaking
Well,
of
you,
crazy,
you
there's another
actually don't even
boombox.
take you don't even take a performance hit from them anymore. If you do, it's very marginal.
Alrighty.
See, maybe we should do a Modders Inc. case. You know, do a community one.
That'd be
Get
cool.
everybody together.
We all pitch in, all of us pitch in our own thing. I've
Yeah.
got super glue.
That you do. You do
No, I
have
mean
a
it's
super
a
glue
design. You know.
Alrighty.
Speaking of interesting cases, what about Boombox that's currently out on Modders Inc.?
Oh man, that's our
Shane's?
featured mod.
Mhm.
He took first place last year in the Bethesda at QuakeCon, didn't he?
I was so
did.
scared his case was going to fall over because it was so top heavy.
Oh man, I remember the second. Speaking of like when we go to the competitions, you know, amateurs versus professionals. The second I saw his build, I was hoping he was in a different category because I knew I just lost. Because that was phenomenal work, man. Whoa.
Which one was
Well,
his?
what's
His was
funny is
the
the last.
one with that had the camshaft in it and the
Oh,
gears.
the,
that was just whoa,
Yeah,
man.
kind of the steampunk kind of looking one. What game was it?
That was beautiful. It was
It was the case that was taller than all of us. So
Yes.
that
it was the correct
Except for
size
Craig.
case. Yeah.
Half-stacker 935
Dishonored.
5F and
That's
915.
what it
Dishonored.
was.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dishonored.
It was a Dishonored steampunk. Well,
It
the
was
last thing I heard from
beautiful.
Shane is he said he was going to take a break and take a hiatus. And sure enough, I didn't see anything on his Facebook, nothing. And all of a sudden he has this.
He took a break so that he could focus on this.
I think he built
This was a client build for a musician, I think. It was going to go to an audio professional.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I thought it was. I was saying there it is. Yeah, this was commissioned by Music Studio. The owner just told me to make it look cool, so he designed everything.
It's awesome, man.
What I love about this case was that it's not the usual high-end i7. It's actually what was like motherboard? It's like a gigabyte. It's like an FM2 motherboard, I think.
AM3.
AM3, yeah.
Well, that's Shane's. The build for QuakeCon was also AMD. So you don't always have to have Intel.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be
The only
high-end,
kids
but
in
you
the
know,
pool.
the other hardware kind of is in the spotlight in this one.
His bends look really good too.
Yeah, he's got nice clean bends, dude.
That's definitely going to be a deciding factor this year. Now that hardline is mainstream, is the quality of the bends. Because we had, it seemed like you had cable sleeving, and it was like everyone has cable sleeving now, so it's how well it's done, and now everyone has hardline, so it's how well is the hardline done.
Mm-hmm.
I think up next it'll be the copper hardline.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty.
That's a pretty build, man.
That is a pretty build.
That is.
Oof.
I love the RGB LEDs on it too. I'm a sucker for LEDs, so.
Yep.
That's
Nice.
beautiful.
And it still maintains the original case as well.
Yeah, it does. You know that? I mean, you're right. I mean, you can still tell what case it is, but everything else about it is custom.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is. He didn't have to really go crazy on the case to get the look that he wanted. You know, so you don't always have to cut everything up or do a whole bunch of crazy shit. I bet it's even probably the original painting.
Probably is. That's a Fantex, isn't it?
Yeah.